Hey everyone, it's me, Will, and I'm back from PAX South. Oh my god, what an adventure it was. Exhausting but amazing at the same time. So, I don't want to make this too long. Let's just get straight into it. PAX, it's a convention. One of the big reasons that anybody goes to a convention. I don't know how many any of you have gone to, but any reason you go to a convention, one of the big, really valuable reasons is to meet up with people and mingle and whatnot. So I met a whole lot of people at PAX, and I'm just gonna go with the straight top highlight of going to PAX for me this year, which was meeting Hat Films. The Hatters, who are also a part of the Yogscast, they were there, and I spent an inordinate amount of time with them. It was fantastic. Meeting Chris, Trot, what am I saying? Chris, Ross, and Alex, all there, and getting to know them and kind of pick their brains a little bit and spend time just kind of having fun. That was by far the best part. It turns out that I get along with them a whole lot better than I thought to, because the first time that you meet someone, it's like, are we really gonna get along? No, it turns out that that I got along with them really well, and we ended up spending a good hunk of one day playing Munchkin over in the boardroom, the board game area of the convention, and we ended up playing that whenever we went to one of the after parties as well. Trot ended up getting a copy of Munchkin, which is a card game, if you don't know. It's a unique card game, and we ended up playing that at one of the after parties, and we had a really, really fun time. It was a blast. So, met the Hat Films. That was by far the biggest highlight of the whole time there, because, just meeting anybody who you have worked with at all, face-to-face, is really nice. It's really nice being able to put a face to the voice. Even if you know what someone looks like, it's just meeting someone face to face is so valuable. So that was by far the biggest highlight of going to PAX South. But that doesn't mean that I didn't have a great time meeting other people. I also ended up meeting two of my mods. So if you don't know, hopefully most of you know, I stream on Twitch. I usually stream on Mondays and Tuesdays around noon Central US time. Feed that into Google for your own local time. Links below for access to my Twitch page and whatnot, but usually I stream around noon, and two of my mods ended up managing to make it to PAX South, Sam and Zara, and it was great to meet both of them. I really have to give a salute to Zara, tip my hat to her, as it were, because she had a really rocky time getting here. She came all the way from Europe, and there were some travel problems that she ran into. So she muscled through it and everything, and had a great time being here in America, as far as I know. So props to you, Zara, for working through everything that you had to put up with to get here. So that was something. Meeting the mods was great, but also I had a fantastic time meeting, fans, people who came up and said hi and asked for a signature or a selfie or something. That was fantastic. It's always really great to meet up with anybody who's who admires my content, who watches what I do, seeing faces behind just the screen names and the comments that exist out there. It's always fun and gratifying to know that there are actual people out there who enjoy watching what I do and everything. There's an unavoidable disconnect whenever you only see text on a screen, whether it's in real time or not, coming from people somewhere in the world, and then actually seeing someone face to face, and they say, I watch your stuff, hey, can I get a picture with you, and stuff like that. So meeting the people there, meeting everybody at the con was fantastic. There was especially one girl who stood out in my mind, who I saw at the con. She dressed up as Hannah's avatar, Lamadia, from Minecraft, and she did a fantastic job of it. So, I mean, the cosplay was awesome. I also saw someone named, I don't remember his name, but he was dressed up as Rithian. He did a great job of that cosplay as well. I don't think I have a selfie of that, unfortunately. Whoops, sorry. But yeah, meeting fans and anybody who's a fan of the Yogscast in general, it was great. It was fantastic. So thanks to all of you who went to PAX, showed up, met me, shook my hand, got a picture, anything like that. It was fantastic to meet you, and not to jump the gun or anything, but hopefully I will be going next year. I have all intentions of going to PAX South next year, especially if they hold it in San Antonio in the same convention center, because I'm very aware of the place at this point. So for those of you who may be interested for next year, maybe wanting to meet me, just as a precursor, I fully intend to go to PAX South next year, if at all possible. So, that's something else. What else beyond that? I also met Bebop again, good old Keith down in San An, and he and I were on the same team as we were playing some rounds of Rocket League on stage. So yeah, that was something. Anyway, let's move on to things going on the floor of PAX South. One of the big reasons why you go to PAX South, or any convention really, it's to, look at merchandise, go to panels, and check out the games on the floor. So I didn't really go to too many panels, but I did buy some merchandise, if you can't tell from my hat here. There was a booth there called the Blonde Swan, and they were just a hat boutique, basically. This is a very high quality hat. It cost me $200. Full, complete, legitimate, authentic leather. And now you get to see my balding face, balding head. So I ended up buying this during the last hour that the floor was open on the last day. Basically, I was looking at this hat several times over the course of 3 days before I was just like, you know what? That's it. I'm just gonna buy it. And I do not regret my purchase because this thing is amazing. Anyways, moving on from the hat, let's talk about some of the games that I saw on the floor. So one of the great things about PAX is that because it's not a trade show, because it's not something where developers are really trying to push to media, you can find games on the floor that have been out for years, up to maybe even 2 years, I think. So what I ended up finding were I found at least one game on the floor that I was very surprised about, that had managed to completely pass me by, and it was Freedom Planet. So Freedom Planet is a game it's an indie developed game, side scroller, and it really gets you in nostalgia for, feeling and looking and just hitting all the marks for what a Sonic game used to be back in the day on the Sega Genesis. It was amazing. It was great. I played the game for about 10 minutes at the booth, and then I said, you know what, this is really great. And they happen to be selling Steam keys while on the floor. So I turned around and I bought a copy, and I've been playing it, and it's been worth every penny that I've paid them. And I didn't have to pay a whole lot either. It's a budget title. And I was really surprised whenever I looked into the game that it's been out since 2014. And moreover, Martin played the game, which surprised the hell out of me, because you think I would have heard of it, but I didn't. So that's one of the great things about PAX. Already released games are on the floor that you can go ahead and pick up, and you may have just not heard of. But I don't want to give too much attention to Freedom Planet because I got two other games. I saw a lot of games at PAX South, but there are two other games that I really want to give attention to. And the other one is Kona Day 1, which is kind of a unique game. It had a very Silent-esque type of feel to me, but it's very similar to The Long Dark, if you've ever played that game. Kona is basically a mystery puzzle type of game that mixes in kind of survival and crafting components, as well as being heavily story-driven, and it's episodic as well. So it takes place in the Canadian North in the 1970s, and you're kind of tasked with solving a mystery. You're a detective, I believe, and you got to find out what's going on, what happened here. There's some strange phenomena going on, and you have to run around and solve puzzles, but you also have to keep track of hypothermia and keeping yourself healthy and safe. It didn't come off like a horror game to me. It came off as a suspense-filled game, which, I don't have any particular problem with. It had a great feeling. I'm going to be watching that very closely as, time goes on, as they develop the game. And like I said, it's going to be episodic. So, Kona the game, looking forward to that quite immensely. The last game that I want to look into, or just basically talk about, is a game called Stories, The Path of Destinies. Okay, so, got a little bit of a card here from the developers. Stories, Path of Destinies. It's like an isometric, top-down type of game. It's an RPG, but it's also heavily about choices and making your own story. So if you've ever played a game from Telltale, say The Walking Dead or The Wolf Among Us or something like that, and, you kind of start off at one point, and then through a series of choices, things branch out, but because Telltale games are episodic, each episode kind of has to meet back at one point before they can, move on to the next episode, so that whenever you start the next episode, everybody starts at the same point. So, what happens in Stories is something very, very different, where you end up, with a completely different experience because it's not episodic, and you're presented with series and series of questions and choices to make, which can result in radically different outcomes in the game. And, it doesn't seem like a desperately long game either. It seems something reasonably, of a reasonable length that you're not going to spend disproportionate amounts of time on. But it's an RPG, isometric top-down, and, you have to make choices, and you can have radically different results, which is really, really interesting because I like the concept of like, oh, well, I had a completely different experience with this game from you. Which I very much so look forward to. The devs told me that they're working on a Steam copy as well. Right now, it's scheduled for an early 2016 release on the PlayStation 4. So if you have a PS4, that's an option for you. But they told me that they're working on a Steam version, or just basically PC. I know it's going to be coming out on Steam, if I'm remembering correctly. But we'll see how long it takes for that to happen. But other than that, that's pretty much everything that I have to talk about for games. I mean, believe me, there were a lot of games on the show floor that I saw, was really, really interested in and whatnot, but those are the three that that really caught my eye and stood above everything else that I saw. Freedom Planet, which is already out, you can get it on Steam right now. Kona, day one. I believe you can pre-order and get beta access or something, early access, if you want. Hopefully that doesn't really run too counter to the fact that it feels like a very story-driven game. We'll see how that turns out because I'll be watching the game. And Stories, Path of Destinies. Yeah, Destinies. I'm bad with subtitles. Anyway, Stories, The Path of Destinies, which is, a choice-based RPG game where you can end up with a radically different outcome from, your friend who can play the game as well. So, that's the whole story. Anyway, that's pretty much everything from me. I had a fun time at PAX South. Hopefully I'll see you guys there next year if you show up. And, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and it was great meeting all of you who showed up to PAX South. But until next time, I tip my hat to you. Bye.